Thank you.
Good morning. I want to thank Gary for inviting me. I think it was January this year that he called and said, would you come and be one of the speakers? And I think you took a big risk. Let's see if God will honor your faith. Most of you here will have paid your taxes. You have filed a return, and you'd probably have done so grudgingly, a little less grudgingly than perhaps how you pay your tithe. And some of you here you love to hate the IRS. I work for the IRS, or I work for the Ugandan Revenue Authority, which is, like the IRS here. And I have to say God has done incredible things in that tax authority. But let me give you just a backdrop to my story. And this is just some stats on Africa that I picked on the internet, something that you can just do yourself. In 2013, Africa was the world's fastest growing continent at 5.6% a year. And GDP is expected to rise by an average of over 6% between 2013, last year, and 2023. 2, World Bank expects that most African countries will reach middle income status, which is defined as at least $1,000 per person a year by 2025 if current growth rates continue. 4, poverty in Africa, or poverty in sub-Saharan Africa, has also declined. You see a lot of pictures with kids, flies on their faces. Well, the media doesn't do us justice. An estimated 58% of people in the region were living on less than $1.2 a day around the turn of the millennium. By 2010, the poverty headcount ratio declined by almost 10 percent points to an estimated 48%, and it's still going down. However, in March last year, Africa was identified as the world's poorest inhabited continent. Why? Why is a continent that seems to be doing so well also so poor? Well, many reasons, one of which is corruption, and it is a major source of slow development in Africa and making us the poorest continent in the world. My story. My story is the story of how God came into URA and changed what was one of the most corrupt public institutions in Uganda. In fact, every year Transparency International does a perception index, and pre-2004 we would compete favorably with the police for position number 1 or number 2 in that index. And I'd been in this organization for 13 years up to 2004. And it didn't compute, it didn't make sense to me that I, who was a Christian who believed God could change any place, could also be in an institution that was previously known as a den of thieves. Very corrupt, very inefficient, very high-handed and arrogant, and really not treating the public very well. But in 2004, the job that I now hold became vacant. And I was naive enough to believe that God could change anything. Some friends of mine, we'd been praying for about 2 years, trusting and believing God could change this organization. We were Christians, we were in this organization, we were all known as thieves. And for me, that was very painful. But I was also angry that nothing was happening. There was injustice. We were not raising enough money to fund government programs, and government programs that are so important for children for poor communities in Uganda. So once I got the job, and I have no training in business, my background is psychology and administration, so I kind of thought, oh my God, what have I done? I remember one journalist asking me, everybody who has come and done this job has failed. Why do you think you will succeed? Like I said, I was naive enough to believe that once you bring God into the marketplace, he doesn't know the division between church and politics. He doesn't know the division between church and business. We are the ones who build these walls. And so I thought, okay, if God comes in and we pray, perhaps things will change. And I remember one pastor walking into my office. We're going through these major reforms, and it was very dangerous.